Hello, welcome back to Malone Lave Wargaming. We're in the Pacific Admirals Edition. Scenario 1, play by email, playing as Japan. We're now setting up the December 24th turn. Merry Christmas Eve. Starting off in China, a bit of a development from last turn. There are 4 enemy units in Wuchang. Hopefully not all of these are cores. Chinese cores are almost as strong as Japanese divisions, and I only have 1 division hanging out here. Good news is we do have level 4 forts, and there should be a defensive bonus here. Urban Light, so that's not a great defensive bonus. Let's check what that is real quick. It's a ×2, but that can be significant. Generally, the game favors defense in land warfare, so we got a decent chance of holding on. We have these guys that were blocking this enemy force here from reaching Wuchang. They're going to fall back to support Wuchang. I've also got units coming in to reinforce from Hangzhou, and just in case, I've got some units over here in Xinyang that are starting to fall back. If it turns out those aren't needed, I'll turn them right around. I also pulled some Sonias out of Canton and pulled those up to Hangzhou. So this enemy's unit's going to be getting bomber attention both from there and over here with these ANs. And did I do the IDAs too? Yeah, both the ANs and the IDAs. So clearly they got my attention with this move. Not too much else going on in China. I mean, we're set up to have little land battles here and here and here. Not too much of a big deal. That's going to proceed as well. I don't think any of those are all that important. Starting to build up a concentration of units here. My target for this is going to be 3 divisions before we cross the river and start making a move around the back end over here. Moving on to Burma, I'm going to hold off at least another turn before I send the air HQ to Bangkok. As much as I want to torpedo these guys since they're sending supply convoys in. With my Nels not carrying torpedoes out of, let's go down here, out of Kuching, I need to hold on a little bit longer. I'm really disappointed with the speed that this airfield is building up here. I mean, we have plenty of aircraft engineers, or airfield engineers. So the base force has engineers, Naval Construction Battalion, more engineers, 2 airfield construction battalions, that has a lot, and then a little bit more with this aviation support company, but that's not that big of a deal. But basically, like 3 construction battalions should be able to build up an airfield pretty fast, but we are only 30% of the way from going from level 3 to 4, so that's disappointing. I've got a garrison that arrived in Champhan, so they're going to take over at Victoria Point. We've also got aviation support that's going to hold on there. I already have 1 division of reinforcements that landed in Bangkok, making their way down to Malaya. The second I was about to order down to follow, but I decided to wait a day, and the reason is because we have contact here in Tavoy. I don't know how strong the enemy unit is here, so for the time being, I'm just going to order a bombardment attack to get an assessment on that. But if it turns out this is a relatively strong unit, I mean, they did reinforce after all, then maybe for the time being I need to keep that division up here in Burma and Thailand. Malaya's mostly more of the same right now. We're still waiting for the Imperial Guards unit to really move. They're nearly completing their first hex of movement, and then they're still going to need 1 more to reach Alor Star. I'm starting to move in with this recon regiment as well as these guys over here. So we're putting the pressure on them slowly. We intended to have a land battle in this hex last turn, but the enemy unit got out before that happened. So this turn they're going to get a little bit of attention from airstrikes, and we're just going to keep chasing them down. Over here, good thing I'm talking to you guys while looking at this. That fatigue is really high, so we're going to cancel the attack here. Yeah, so I mean, basically we still need to do some work to clear the enemy units out of Temelo. We've got another regiment that's about to arrive. No, maybe not about to arrive. They're going pretty slow on those trails. But right now, what's basically the main force is this group here that's about division strong. So, you know, worst case scenario, if we'll just come down, take Kuala Lumpur, and leave them with really nowhere else to go. Airstrikes are going to be a bit more of the same. Because of the enemy raid on Kuantan, I'm increasing the amount of aircraft allocated to Cap. But other than that, we're still just basically trying to bomb the airbase here. It's plenty crowded, so if we can get good weather and get some bombs on target, we should damage them pretty badly. Weather forecast for Malaya is clear sky, and while we're at it, forecast for Luzon is partly cloudy, so I mean, hopefully, you know, these storms that have been messing with us for so much of the campaign so far is going to go away. We still have contacts all over the Java Sea area. I'm not sure if this is considered the Java Sea over here, next to Sumatra, or if that's South China Sea. But we've got contacts here too. Probably minesweepers or an ASW group. Troop transports, that's a little bit unsettling. Hopefully not landing reinforcements there. In any case, Nels here are on orders to attack task forces first. They can't find anyone to attack, they'll do a port strike on Palembang, since we have 5 ships in port, including a tanker and a troop transport, apparently. I mentioned I was going to green light Ambon, and I did. So combined 2 amphibious task forces here, so they're transporting an army regiment and a naval guard unit. That should be more than enough to take Ambon. Carrier Division 2 is moving out to their flank, so we'll have plenty of coverage between the Betties acting as naval search out to here, and then when the carriers get here, they've got their own search wedge, so they're going to push that out further, so we should see anything coming. Likewise, the mini KB is right behind them, and they've got a whole bunch of Jakes on a seaplane carrier providing plenty more coverage. So it should be hard for anyone to sneak up on us over here. Of course, at this point, providing cover for the Ambon operation is kind of secondary because of how strongly I suspect that the enemy carrier battle group is hanging out in the Arafura Sea or the Gulf of Carpentaria. So I want to keep the Baby KB and Carrier Division 2 pretty close together because I don't necessarily trust Carrier Division 2 to take on a Lexington class and a Yorktown class carrier by more or less by themselves, so I want them reinforced. Meanwhile, I've reformed Divisions 1 and 3 as the Kido Butai. They're going to move up just a little bit putting themselves between Cairns and Port Moresby, and I'm going to launch strikes on both. We're going to be concentrating on the port at Cairns due to 11 ships contacted there, including transports and allegedly battleships. I don't know whose battleships those would be, so I just doubt that classification. But we're going to pound these ships since we've got them as a target of opportunity. And then the airstrike on Port Moresby is going to hit their airbase, because I'm tired of the B-17s harassing my troops in Rabaul, so hopefully we can get rid of some of those. So yeah, if they want to continue to send fighters to nearby bases to attack my carriers, that probably means they're in here. I mean, not necessarily. I guess they could just move out further and just keep flying the carrier air wing between land bases. But this is probably where they were 2 turns ago when they first sent their fighters and SBDs over to Cairns. So probably, maybe still around here, maybe in Darwin. So yeah, maybe we'll have a Christmas Day raid on Darwin, or maybe the day after. We'll see. Might depend on whether we can get anybody out here to do any recon. It might be a bit too much of an ask, but maybe. Maybe something for the, what are they called again? No, we don't have any there. Mavises. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. We are not yet done loading at Wake, so Guam's going to have to wait. There's Wake. We're down to 1 enemy submarine contact, which is 1 too many. They're in shallow water. We should get them. Meanwhile, the destroyer that hunted down the Penguin is reforming with the Tayo battle group. Not really a battle group, it's just a CVE with 2 destroyers. So the Tayo has already picked up 1 Claude detachment, and it's also going to pick this one up. I could probably fly them over right now, but with these enemy ships here, I'm a little reluctant to do that. Closest point of approach is 7. Can a Claude even fly that far? No. Maybe I should just say the hell with it. Yeah. Well, they're not in range anyways. Okay. Never mind. So probably Christmas Day we'll go ahead and move those out to the Tayo, send the Tayo back to Japan, and they'll come back with 0s. Honestly, this guy's probably going to get away. Either we redetect him next turn and hit him with an airstrike, or we don't. It is what it is. Rabaul, we've managed to land some additional troops. Took a little bit of damage in the process from the 6-inch guns there. Nothing too serious. I don't think we have enough to take the base just yet. Going to do a probing bombardment attack and see what it looks like. I mentioned we could load up a division to send there. I think that's too much. But we did get these guys to arrive at truck. They were going to unload. I told them not to unload. So this is 2 Marine units. That's 120 assault value that we can add. And the only thing that's holding me back from doing that right away is these guys haven't finished unloading yet. Because what I'd like to do is get these cruisers to support that operation again so that the transports don't get shot up too much on the beach. And in order to do that, they need to reload. Yeah, the cruiser that's already here is not going to be of any use. So, no rush there. And then at some point during all this craziness, I should be able to get a decent assessment of just how strong Port Moresby is. The original plan was to use that division I mentioned, plus these 2 Naval Guard units. So hopefully that's enough. Meanwhile, because we sent so many Naval Guard units into Rabaul, intended invasions of Shortlands, Tulagi, and Lunga never happened. So a little bit concerned there. I don't want to concede the Solomons to the enemy. I mean, heck, I want to keep going and grab Espiritu Santo and New Caledonia if I can. But yeah, thanks to his carrier strikes in this area, I've lost a bit of momentum here. Alright, that's going to do it. We will see you for the combat replay. Thanks for watching. Combat replay now in progress for December 24th, 1941. Alright, let's raise some hell. Oh, come on. So that was me sending in a task force to that small base to track down the Hong Kong evacuees. And it seems like they got in there, but didn't actually engage anyone. So over here at Rabaul, we're apparently continuing to land troops or supplies. Ouch. Yeah, these shore batteries are still giving us a bit of a problem, although nobody got severely damaged. No one more than a single hit. Looks like the minefield at Hong Kong is just about taken care of. I appreciate that we're attacking this ship on the surface and letting too many unescorted ships go, in my opinion. Due to damage, he didn't even get hit. So no heavy damage reported over here, but at least it's on fire. Oh, come on. We've got so many ASW escorts here. Okay, well, at least we're hitting him. There we go. Keep going, guys. He needs some more. Well, it looks like the AV is going to survive. It's not reported with heavy damage. I think I can just detach this. Let's see if we can get that fire under control in the port at Wake. Right, doing a bombardment at Cairns. I held off on doing this for a turn because of those alleged battleship sightings. Even if they weren't battleships, which they're almost certainly not, and just heavy cruisers like the Pensacola that we just saw. If they tried to come out and attack my carriers directly, I wouldn't want too many of my own cruisers detached, because they might just go right past each other and let them into my carrier task force. So we did get one hit on the Pensacola, not a great result. Now what have we here? These guys just bombarding, or is there an actual counter invasion going on here. Just a bombardment. Yeah, I'm not using this base for anything. I'm just denying it to the enemy. I don't know why he's so obsessed with trying to damage it. Right, no hits by the shore batteries this time. Here we go. Thank you. Yeah, the more work my small surface craft can do here, the less my Nels and Bettys have to do, which means my Nels and Bettys can keep working over Clark Air Base, Manila's Port, that sort of thing. Just going to skip to the end of this. Kind of know what's going to happen. Yeah, 43 shell hits on that guy. We kind of know what's going to happen here, too. So we just had another minesweeping phase indicated where we did not see any mines swept to Hong Kong, so I think I'm probably going to give the all clear over there. Seem to be encountering these PCs multiple times. Alright. Let's go. Yeah, enemy gets the first kill. P-38s are no joke. At least the good news is if they want to get into a maneuvering fight with me at relatively low altitude, which I think this is going to be either 20 or 15,000 feet. P-38 doesn't maneuver well against the Zero. Yeah, 20,000 feet. So that's the Zero's playground. Heavy clouds, just 4 port hits. Lame. Ooh, looks like the enemy's trying to evacuate. Isn't that interesting? A vehicle destroyed by a port attack that didn't apparently hit anything. Maybe there's a ship that's loaded up that's damaged or burning or something like that. Alright, enemy attack. Another 0 falls. Not having a great day in the air so far, but we got a chance to turn that around here. Get a lot of enemy planes damaged without actually shooting them down. Well, got 4 of them. 2 get through. Doesn't look like they did any damage. So 1 support squad disabled on the ground thanks to the bombing. Pretty insignificant. Hmm. 6 sweeping, but 14. So apparently this drew some escorts that were probably more needed in Manila. Alright, airstrike on Cairns. And we are hitting enemy ships. Yes, 2 heavy cruisers with heavy damage. As much as I prefer to hit troops in the open rather than in an urban hex like that, we just really don't know how many enemy troops are there yet. We should know at the end of the turn. I guess these guys are flying out of Wenchao, which is fine because Wenchao's not going to be around much longer. Well, it'll be around, it'll just be in our hands. Ah, the Dauntlesses are back. SPD-1s. Interesting. So we're gonna lose an AKL. Unfortunate. Bit of an opportunity to take out some Dutch bombers. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a raid on Sinkawang. The land battle's been fought and won here, and we're not using the base for anything, so these bombers are really being sacrificed just to give my fighters more experience. I don't see any benefit to this air raid for the enemy whatsoever. So we got 4 of them. Make that 5. Possibility for more. So got 4 on the way in, 1 over the target, and 1 on the way out. And really, I don't think there was any benefit. They got 2 runway hits, and I'm not using the runway. So... oh, they're even sending B-17s here. Wow. I don't know, maybe he thinks that's where my Nels are flying out of? It looks like he's trying to stop the Ambon attack. Surprised I'm not getting support from carrier fighters here. I'm gonna have to take a look on that. Yeah, I thought we'd have our carriers in place by now. Oof. So, Bangkok is definitely a worthy target for B-17s, especially with all the shipping activity I've got going on there. Fortunately for me, I do have plenty of fighters here, just most of them are nates. Hopefully can get more of those 1 Charlie Oscars up, since they might actually be able to do a bit more damage to these bombers. There we go. Well, he hit him twice. Alright, we got 4 more in the fight. That's what I like to see. Well, they all get through, but severe storms, I guess bad weather is something that's not just for messing with me. Messes with him too. So he gets nothing. Hopefully some of those bombers crashed on the way home. Yep, there goes my AKL. Thanks, Dauntlesses. I think maybe one of those sighting reports in the Marshalls was for real. Damn it. Well, they only put 2 planes up. Oh, that's interesting. The Sargo was present at Clark and ended up sinking while we were here. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's get some ships. No, don't go after the cruiser. Come on, guys. You're not going to hit the cruiser. You guys have hard enough of a time hitting the merchants. So we're bombing at 8,000 feet and still got a whole lot of nothing. You hate to see it, but I mean that's level bombing in World War II against ships. Clear skies for these Bettys. They still don't do a whole lot, just 1 support squad disabled. And we do have a contact here in the Marshalls. Ooh, what have we here? Is somebody trying to evacuate some soldiers? Well, it looks like we're trading AKLs this turn. pretty weak sweep. Not sure why I managed to get so few airplanes into this. Oh, you know what? This is going to be one of the relatively small detachments that's operating out of Kotabaru right now. There were 2 detachments with the same orders, if memory serves. So maybe just one of them flew. Maybe the other one's going to arrive right after this. In spite of being badly outnumbered, we're still dominating these buffaloes. Pretty sure I'm going to get an ace out of this. Well, unless he just died. Yeah, so 1-0, 1P40, and 6 buffaloes. Yes, this is probably the planes from the 2nd detachment arriving now. And we failed to bring down the AVG P40 that contributed to the battle. Alright, so that brings our kills up to 8 buffaloes. No damage. Nope. Make it 9. It's nice to see the number of enemy fighters over Singapore is basically nothing again. These Dauntlesses flying out of her bow are the bane of my existence. Just moving them in at will. Moving them out to avoid any retaliation from me. Oh my god, he actually got a hit. Well, that'll be nothing my battleship can't take, and he lost 2 Hudsons for his trouble. Ooh, these guys get through. What a shame. Well, so this is frustrating because we, if memory serves, had very clear skies over Singapore, and I had absolutely no bomber attacks that I ordered actually go through and hit Singapore. And that after we really significantly reduced their fighter presence. So that was just kind of a wasted turn considering how good things were kind of going, at least weather-wise. And one of these pesky S-boats just torpedoed a light cruiser of ours and got away with it. Pretty strong enemy unit here. Let's see if this goes any different now that we have tanks reinforcing us. Yeah, still 1-2. Not great. But in terms of casualties, we're definitely doing better. because they don't have an answer to the tanks. Take care of these guys pretty easily. They're retreating, and that will free up these forces to make a move on Wuchang. Finishing off these guys. They surrender. Fairly strong force over here on the mountains by Peiping. Not strong enough. They retreat. Oof. Oh. Nearly 400 enemy squads lost there. These guys have been doing an okay job holding out. They got plenty of defensive cover up here. Not enough for them to hold out this time. Yeah, more huge enemy land force losses. Now we're back on the offense at Cabantuan. I'm looking forward to this. This should be a nice little slaughter. Yeah, they were trying to perform an organized retreat. We turned that into a rout. Yeah, so this is great news for us. I mean, all these destroyed squads are enemy troops that aren't going to fight us in a highly defensive position like Clark. Yeah, and they did retreat to Clark. I would have preferred if they retreated to Manila. But it's not up to me. But yeah, like another 400 plus enemy squads destroyed here. It's great. So after I ordered this assault, I started to wonder if this was a mistake. Looks like I got away with it. The reason I was just thinking it was a mistake is there's really no rush to finish off these enemy tanks here, and they have a defensive bonus thanks to the mountains. And I'm between the victory I knew I was going to get at Cabanatuan and the additional tanks coming from that road from Apari to the east. I didn't need to go one-on-one against this regiment. Or, well, I guess it's not quite one-on-one because it's a regiment versus a battalion. In any case, I got away with it, so go me. I was a little worried this might be a strong enemy unit. It is not. So that answers that question. Alright, so this probing attack in Rabal, we are seeing that we do outnumber the enemy slightly. I really don't think that's enough to actually attack outright in this terrain, even with air support. And don't forget, they have air support too. We're being harassed by B-17s every day. So it may be time to go all in with our division. Just knock this base dead. Speaking of B-17s, we didn't get our airstrike on Port Moresby. Ouch. Yeah, this can't keep going. So we've got 2 enemy corps attacking at Wuchang. We're defending with 1 division. Final assault odds were absolutely horrific for the enemy. It doesn't look like we got any modifier from our airstrikes. But certainly a bit of a terrain bonus and level 4 forts helped a lot. That is really low casualties for a failed attack. But we're holding out. I'd anticipate they're just going to pull out after this. Alright, moving to the post-turn analysis. Looks like, scoring-wise, we kind of had another big one. Probably lots of enemy army casualties contributing a great deal to that. We can see this number ticked up about 140 points over here in the LCU column. Also doing pretty good in the air. Taking a look at our losses. We did lose a few zeros besides our regular, ordinary operational losses that we're going to have whenever we're operating aircraft. It just happens. But we basically just lost 6 fighters. I'm guessing the Nate was shot down by a bomber. That's somebody crashing on the way back to base. Overall, it's a pretty small price to pay for what we got. Because we ended up with 36 enemy aircraft lost total, and of those, I think it was something like 18 fighters, so 11 Buffaloes, we're up to 17 with them, 21, okay, 22 enemy fighters lost this turn. So for the cost of 4 zeros and an 8, I'll take that. I'll take that any day. Yeah, really disappointed that we weren't able to exploit the enemy losses over Singapore with an airstrike, because we did order them. In terms of ship losses, kind of a busy day. We lost 2 cargo ships off Rabaul. Losing them to Dauntlesses again. I noticed they're SBD-1s. I don't think any of the enemy carrier forces start with SBD-1s. And I didn't see anything reporting what squadron they're from. So I'm guessing that's a U.S. Marine Corps unit that's been moved up. I'm going to have to think about what I want to do about those. Possible bombing of the airfield, possible getting bombardments on there, although my capacity to do naval gunfire support is significantly degraded around the Solomons and New Britons, thanks to losing the 2 battleships I deployed there. So we're starting to see some operational level successes on the enemy's side in that respect. There's a cost to be paid. 2 enemy submarines reported going down at Clark. That's a little weird. And they're reported scuttled, too. One of them, our aircraft witnessed going down. So not sure why that would be a scuttling. Scuttling would happen between turns. So that was a prior turn. Other than that, we just kind of picked off a lot of enemy cargo ship traffic near Hong Kong. It's not too big of a deal there. Plus they lost one off Batavia. I forgot what that was. Oh, that was our submarine. So this is the one that was left in flames after a gun attack by the submarine. I'm not so confident that that guy would have sunk. We didn't see heavy damage reported on him, but they seem to think it's real. Victory point margin is narrowing pretty quickly. We've got a lot of consistent turns where we're catching up. We are still lagging behind in victory points for sunk ships. That's what happens when I lose battleships and he doesn't. Once again, we see the impact of not doing so great at Pearl Harbor. Pilot losses, 3 killed, 1 missing in action. Considering we didn't lose all that many planes in the first place, that's pretty bad. Up to over 100 pilots killed and missing so far in the campaign. Oh, while I'm there, Guess I need to go back. Oops. One of these days I'll click it correctly. We're up to 3 aces. Yeah, how about that? So the 0 that was shot down over Singapore was apparently not the guy that was getting all the shoot downs. Guessing the Yamada detachments are the 2 detachments that were sweeping Singapore today. All land-based, 0 squadrons that are becoming aces so far. The carriers aren't seeing that much action. Alright, let's look around the map and see what we see. We still have enemy ships that escaped Hong Kong that are present. Meanwhile, we're starting to see quite a bit of activity around here in China. It looks like they're kind of trying to surge troops to this area. As I mentioned at the end of the turn, they don't have enough at Wuchang, so I think it's fairly likely that they can see that they don't have enough and they're going to start retreating. But with all the rest of these enemy units in the vicinity, the reinforcements that I ordered to Wuchang, I'm not going to change my mind about those. It'll be as important to clear these guys out as it is to clear the enemy out around Xinjiang. This enemy unit might be fairly strong, but I do have a division plus, so no worries there. Pretty quiet up here. We finally reached these guys. What it would bring? A tank regiment and a division plus support. So we can probably fight these guys no problem. These guys are sitting on the rail now. That offends me. I'm going to have to deal with that. This area is close to being cleared out now. Good progress here. So lots of enemy task forces in Rangoon, including cruisers and transports, could indicate more reinforcements arrived. Although the numbers holding around 20,000, that's about what they've been. So maybe the enemy just doesn't feel threatened. We now know that the enemy at Tavoy is very weak. I guess I still got a little bit spooked by that. I may keep a division here. We'll see. We do have the tank regiment that we used to take Victoria Point, closing in. These guys I kind of just wanted to use to run up the road and maybe block the road to Tavoy, to at least discourage the enemy from sending anything strong down there. In my prior campaign, I actually took a lot of pressure off Singapore by going on an offensive from Rangoon towards Bangkok. We ultimately never took Bangkok, but we put enough pressure on it that it delayed the capture of Singapore many months. Just don't want that to happen to me here. So we do have a slight overstack problem, which may have contributed to these airstrikes not happening. Maybe I need to back off a little bit so that goes forward. We may have a little bit of extra room at Kuantan, so I could alleviate the problem that way. These guys, we've been trying to expand these bases to level 4 from the very beginning of the campaign to the point that we've left engineer units here. Yeah, I'd really like that to happen. The Imperial Guards finally moved, so that's good. So we should be able to get them to Alor Star next. So this is kind of cool. The armor units got out ahead and reached these guys, now that they're not pacing the infantry. So might get some preliminary results out of that. Meanwhile, fighter numbers over here are really high in spite of how few we saw in the air. So that might indicate that they're holding fighters in reserve as bomber escorts. Yeah, I don't think we've shot down enough torpedo bombers that we could say that the threat of them is gone. I should probably make a decision on mersing this turn. Seeing a whole bunch of ship contacts, so once again we're kind of disappointed that we didn't get anyone flying out of Wuchang. Looks like we're getting about 10% progress per day on this airbase. Slow, very slow considering the amount of engineering units I have there. Battle over here at Kagan went well. We didn't take the base, but we did cause pretty good casualties. We have additional units moving in, and with just 10 miles to go and a major road to travel on, some of these guys are going to make it soon. So carriers are not in position to protect these guys from airstrikes. And they haven't been detected either, which is kind of cool. Yeah, okay, so I think I'm gonna let the baby KB just go right in and provide direct escort to these guys, because I think they're gonna try to hit these guys pretty hard. That's my read here. I think they're seeing a largely unsupported group of ships over here. They might even be tempted to divert some pretty heavy-hitting bombers over to here. I'm not necessarily sure where they would fly out of, because Ambon itself, I think I'm going to bombard. I mean, I've got a pair of battleships here, another pair here, so I could give them a pretty good hit, but I don't think they're going to be expecting 3 light carriers to be providing fighter cover over these guys. So that's going to happen. And then, for the time being, Carrier Division 2 will sit pretty in the Banda Sea. So if they want to move in naval forces to try to intercept this group, they'll be in for a bad time. Rabaul I'm going to need to think about. Yeah. I don't really have too much to say there, except I'm losing ships at Rabaul again. I don't like it. Let's just see who these guys are real quick. Alright, so they're done. So they can get out. I've got basically 3 2/3 Marine units here. Really should be about 200 AV, but I'm well short of that thanks to the casualties I took coming in. And that's a bit of what's making the difference. This doesn't look like it should be that strong of an enemy unit, but it is. I guess it's light infantry making good use of the cover in the jungle. Still reporting tons of ships here, which makes the port strike results a little disappointing. The heavy cruisers didn't really hit anything. They still got a decent amount of ammo, so I think we can have them attack again. And this time I'm going to be a little bit smarter. And have this guy act as a spotter during the night turn. The replenishment group is not being tracked by the enemy. That's good. Horn Island is not sheltering anyone. I may want to send somebody over to Normanton and just see what happens. As long as we've got 11 ships, including apparently some ships big enough to be misclassified as battleships, Kitabuta is not going anywhere. I mean, all the more reason not to push too far forward with Carrier Division 2, because we want these guys to be providing mutual support to each other in case this is where the enemy carriers are. We don't want them basically ambushing an inferior force. I'm pretty sure port size 2 is not big enough to keep submarines out, so hopefully the Row 61 can sneak in and do some damage. I'm checking for detection levels on these submarines because if the enemy carrier did not go into the Arafura Sea, this route from Noumea to Fiji is a very likely route for them to leave through, and if they were doing that, their planes would probably be either seeing my subs or being seen by them. We're not seeing any detection levels there. I don't know why we're not attacking these guys. I mean, we've had repeated contacts on them. We've got an L squadron. They're on naval attack orders. They're equipped with torpedoes. They're only 10 hexes away. They're in range. Why are they not flying? I don't know. Looks like we've got more good news as far as weather for Christmas Day. Clear skies over Malaya. Pretty close to clear skies over Luzon and the rest of the Philippines, as well as this area over here in the Marshalls. That's giving me a bit of a pain at the moment. So hopefully we've got a better day coming up. Enemy fighter numbers on defense are low, so if we can get bombers to fly, those enemy fighters that are sitting on the ground in reserve to be used offensively are probably going to get blown up by those airstrikes. Enemy fighters that are getting damaged but not shot down are probably sitting damaged at the base. Those guys are prime bomber targets. I mean, I keep saying it over and over about, like, you know, where are my airstrikes? I really need those. There's just too much at stake for them to just sit around. Over here we had aviation tender get hit by a submarine. Looks like we got pretty lucky. 46 flotation damage isn't that bad. So this ship is going to survive, assuming it doesn't get torpedoed a second time. It's not carrying troops, so that's good. So I'm just going to go ahead and detach him. It's not needed. Heck, I could always bring in supplies to Guam later. Just going to cancel that and let these guys leave. Who knows? Maybe I'll leave some of these PBs behind to see if there's still an enemy sub to hunt. But for now, Just want to get these guys out of here. Do have some activity at Pearl, although I'd have to say this is mostly just ASW activity. Some of the ships we detected might have included an oiler down here earlier, but for the most part we're really not seeing anything too interesting over there. So I'm gonna call it a day for there. We'll proceed with the setup for Christmas Day next video. See you then.